So as you are continuing on, you're coming out of the 2020 time capsule. I don't even know. I mean, it's like 2020 happened, right? It's
Right.
like that was an actual year. It was.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of a year that we kind of say 2019, all right, 2021. Here we are. How has the transition been, for you kind of getting back to whatever normalcy, is for now in your business?
Well, it taught me how to learn more about myself. 2020 has really shown a lot for me. It's actually helped me, to put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have learned about the different products and the business as much as I did if it wasn't COVID going on. Because I had time. I had time to learn things. You're at home, you can't go anywhere, so you just study. And that's really how I did 2020. A lot of studying. Mm-hmm.
No, 2020 was definitely a year. Look, if someone didn't take 2020 to get some new knowledge, some new certification, something, while they had that downtime, they basically wasted that entire time. I got my PNC license in 2020.
2020.
I don't do anything with PNC.
But you had time. You had time.
Might as well,
Because small business insurance, I really didn't mess with that. When I worked for my dad, that was what he did. That was his only specialty. So all I did was car insurance and home insurance. So once I got to this point, I had to learn it because I knew there was a lot of businesses coming up, and the premium, the premium is good. You make better money when the premium is good. So I felt I had to learn it. So I learned so much about, small businesses, the different types of small businesses and the coverages and stuff. So I'm glad I had that downtime to really learn the business.
Absolutely.
Instead of shadow work.
Right. No doubt. So now, as you continue to evolve, as an agency owner, but also as a well-rounded entrepreneur, you're hosting, your podcast, Simply Talk with Scherrie Blake. How'd that come about?
Well, Simply Talk, it started off, it was going to just be about businesses because I wanted to, give people some shine about their business so they can, brag on themselves a little bit. But then it turned into we just talked about everything. So right now we're on break. So I'm not really taping right now. I took a little break so we can try to, reformat everything and see what direction we really want to do so we can help people instead of just talking.
Right.
We want to do stuff that benefits people during these times, especially when it comes to learning what to do with your business.
Yes.
Learning what area you want to be in, building and, legacy building. So we have to learn about those type of things, especially right now, because, tomorrow's not promised, but if you got something in line and ready, why not learn about it now? So, yeah. So we're doing a lot of educating this time around on the podcast.
Education is important, and you're educating other entrepreneurs to get into the insurance industry as well.
Yes, that too. So they won't be scared to get licensed.
Yeah. So was it your passion for teaching that said, hey, look, I'm gonna, bring some others along and get us into this space? I mean, look, we've had conversations prior on the phone where we've talked about the disparity of, African Americans, just persons of color in this business. I mean, what was the motivating factor for you to say, hey, look, let's get these let's get young entrepreneurs into this space?
Just not by me not having the real traditional coaching and learning the business. I felt like that was my point. I needed to make sure people did get that. So I think that was my reasons of going that route of saying, hey, insurance is not what you think it is. People are scared to get insurance for some reason.
Yeah,
not only get it, but get licensed to sell it. And it's such a easy thing. I mean, you learn about people and you learn, and you're protecting people's assets. So that's even, you feel better about that. But I don't know, people are afraid. But I think I talked some people down. I think I talked a couple people down. I think they're willing to learn about the industry, and especially us.
Yeah.
And I, for some reason, they get mixed up with real estate. Have you ever heard of that? People saying, so how's the real estate business going? I'm like, no, I'm insurance, but they think insurance agent, real estate agent, and they get confused with that.
Agent, right.
I'm like, no.
Right.
But that made me think, should I go and get my real estate license? Are they trying to tell me that? But no, I think I need to just train agents. And that's where I'm at with it now. I want to train agents, have a recruiting agency, and just train agents on how to do step by step on how to have an agency and make sure it grows. Because I didn't get that.
Yeah, that's so important because, look, if someone is going to be a real estate agent, that's an incredible career path. It's a fantastic profession. But when you think about the statistics of people in this industry, in the insurance industry, whether it be, it doesn't even have to be person of color. It could even be millennials, the younger generation, people who are actually interested, because, real estate, that's a big ticket right now. Every time you're hearing about the Business or Investor podcast, people talk about real estate investing, they're talking about Forex or cryptocurrency. Those are the big things right now, hot topics. And you don't hear insurance brought up in those conversations.
So I'm like, how are you protecting your money?
Yo, look, you don't hear it brought up. You don't hear it brought up as a means of protection. You don't hear it brought up as a career path. I was reading an article recently where it talked about the fact that only 3% of insurance agency principals are African American.
Wow.
3% of agency managers African American.
I believe it.
I believe it. Folks are now retirement. So, and it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive to us. It's people across the board. But I think especially for our people, because we have all of these great forums where, folks are talking about entrepreneurship, folks are talking about investing. You don't hear, you should go get your insurance license and get into that path. But what you do hear is the stories of, the people that used to knock on the door, at grandma's house or aunt's house, collecting the premiums. You hear about, other companies, other agencies that have been around, successful people in the community that have been in the space. They don't typically look like us.
Right.
Why do you think, you said people are scared to get into insurance. Why do you think people are scared to get into insurance?
I don't know. Because they think they got a door knock.
Right.
I think that's what it is. A lot of people don't like to telemarket. And that's something I hated doing too. So if you was to get your own agency, hire somebody that does something that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
That was my key. I always hired a telemarketer because I hated doing that.
Yeah. Look, it's finding ways to be efficient, right?
Yeah.
And that's a part of running the business.
Right.
It's like, it's in that, Robert Kiyosaki has that cash flow quadrant, where he's talking about, the E, the S, the B, and the I. If you take yourself from that S to that B, when you can find people who can help you do those things that, maybe they're a weakness for you, maybe they're not a weakness, but maybe it's just an opportunity cost. Hey, I can focus my time and energy somewhere else, and I can have somebody doing these things. Right. So I think what you're doing from an education standpoint is very important, because it helps people to function as a business owner, and not just, not simply just as a self-employed person. Would you agree that there's
I agree
difference there, right?
Yep. And there's another thing about me being a business owner. I've always wanted to hire people on my team that you wouldn't even know isn't the boss. I wanted everybody to feel, equal.
Right.
So I'm not one of those micromanagers or I'm your boss, do it like I say. I'm not one of those. So I was always the type of boss that wanted people to feel comfortable and just run it like it's your own. I have no problem with that.
Right. So not only will you, train and help this individual get started, but you'll also create a you'll basically create a bridge for them to start their business inside of your organization as well.
Right. And I do it now. Like I'll get a text right now. How do you do this? And all day I'm working till 9 p.m. by the way. So I'm always helping. And that's why I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. Cause I didn't get that help. When I wanted help, somebody wanted to charge me $5,000 for help. But I'm like, if I'm a small business owner that I'm just starting,
right,
I don't have that type of money.
Right.
But you know, people are in business and they're trying to make their money as well. But I felt like it was a disservice when you're first starting off, charging people just for a service that you know they need. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like
it. It's like pulling yourself up by the bootstrap without a boot.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I don't charge if you signed up under me, I don't charge you to get for helping. You know, if you signed up, I mean, why would I charge you if we're all going to win together? I'm not going to charge you for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. So now, you know, at this point in your career, I mean, you know, 2 decades is a long time, you know, to be in this business. What's kept you in it? I know that you took a detour, but what has brought you back, you know, to this business?
I think the renewals.
Look, talk about the renewals because that's something that people miss.
Yes, the renewals kept me going. If I didn't have renewals, I don't think I would still be doing the business. But I just love insurance, I think. Yeah, I love it. Because once I know I protected someone, or if they had a coverage and they didn't know, and then something happens and they're like, hey, I have a claim. Is this covered? And I'm like, yes, because I added this on and you didn't know it. Like, for example, we have a water damage coverage. A lot of people don't realize that that's an actual additional coverage that some agents don't add on. But if you have like a pipe leak or, you know, your water bust and it flows in your house, if you don't have that coverage, you have to pay all that out of pocket. So I always add that special coverage to customers' policy because I've seen it happen so many times where people's houses, you know, overflow with water because of the, you know, the pipe bust. And they didn't have the coverage and they didn't realize, hey, was my cover? Do I have flood coverage? That's what they'll say.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a total different coverage. This is not from the water outside. This is in your house.
That's it.
Yeah. So
I think back to a long time ago. I used to work at Travelers. I was an inside property adjuster, and I remember I worked cat duty for Hurricane Katrina. And what was covered was the water that came from the roof, the water that came down. But if the water came up from the ground, nothing.
People don't know that. So of course, when I add that on, my price is not as much. I mean, my price is higher compared to what they've been paying before. But then you have to explain to them, hey, you need to make sure you compare apples and apples, not apples and oranges when you're shopping for rates. So I always make sure when I quote you based off the experience I went through when it comes to customers' claims. And I try to match it to what you need, you know, and go from there. And I don't put it this way. I don't promote price. I promote the coverages. So if you say, I need to find something cheaper, that's not my problem. I'm not trying to find anything cheaper. I'm trying to make sure you're fully covered.
Make sure you're covered.
Yeah.
Because when it's time to file a claim.
Make
sure right. You are expected to get paid, correct?
All of it.